セガサターンシロ。
Hello,
Happy Friday, everybody.
hello.
Welcome to SHIRO Show.
Hi.
Happy Friday.
Welcome on in. It's
Dan,
another
you in a
happy
good mood?
SHIRO show.
Me and Dan right between here. Or on my
Oh,
lap.
man.
Sorry, that sounded weird. Don't sit on my lap.
What? I can't if I wanted to. I'd just clip out of the frame.
The fans sit on my lap, not you, Dan. I mean,
Oh,
if you really
okay.
want to, Dan, you may sit on my lap, but I
No,
don't
it's
want to.
okay.
Weird.
I'm comfy right here in my spot. It's shaped like my butt here on the couch, on
There
the
we go.
SHIRO
See,
show
there
couch.
we go. Oh, give Dan a little hug. Oh, yeah, there we go. Little Dan.
Thanks, Pat.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Gotta give love to
Jeez.
Dan.
We got to
Dan the
cheer
man
Dan
after-
up.
Cheer Dan
No,
up
I'm
after-
doing
after
fine.
the Browns. Sorry about that.
I don't want to talk about it.
Let's not talk
It's
about it. Let's not talk about
okay,
it.
we won't.
So-
not relevant
Bears
to
in
the
conversation.
SHIRO show. We're going to talk about lots of awesome Sega Saturn related matters.
We're going to talk
Welcome
about
on in, everyone.
We're going to talk about stuff. Yeah, so what has this week meant for you guys? What have you been doing? What have you been up to?
What has it meant for
What
me?
has it
Wow.
meant? I know that's
a
I'm,
deep
I'm
question.
hitting Dan.
What
I'm
has it
trying to
meant
change
for
the subject. What
you?
has it meant for you, Dan? Has it meant frustration?
I've actually been very distracted this week because Awesome Games Done Quick has been streaming 24 hours a day all week, and that's just sent my productivity straight into the ground.
Yeah.
I have it on all day and all night pretty much. So
That you're
Yeah,
going
but
to
it's
talk
fun.
about one of
I
them.
like it.
You're going to talk about
Yeah.
one of them, and I think I got motion sickness almost watching that frame rate.
yeah. Virtual highlight is a rough
Oh,
one.
like I mean,
But,
I never, until I go back to it, and then I'm like, yeah, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Like we thought Daytona had a bad frame rate, but no, virtual highlight
No.
is literally you can count the frames. I think they can.
It takes the cake. Yeah, and yet someone still managed to get a world record in it.
I know, that's
live.
crazy.
So that was pretty cool. So yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
a
we'll
little bit
talk about
later.
it for sure. What? Anything else? Any pickups?
I got to paint up.
You got to paint up.
Paint up.
I painted
All right.
up my Rogo
Got a pin up?
from Warhammer 40k.
Ooh,
This is my,
nice. Well, is
hard
it
to
all
see.
black, or is the camera just like washing it out? Okay.
Let me add a light to it. Yeah, it's basically it's like a dark gray.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So it's a
okay.
really dark gray. But yeah, it's called a Rogel Doran battle tank. It's like it has a lot of shots on it. It's really cool. I like it's for the Astra Militarum or the Imperial Guard, if and not GW copyright speak. But yeah, it's a really cool little tank.
Cool looking, yeah.
I just painted it up. It was man, that's really bad, really dark over there. But yeah, it's a really cool little tank. I like it. I'll see if I can send pictures in the chat and
Yeah.
let people can see it. But yeah,
Nice.
it's a really cool tank. I painted it up a little while ago, but I haven't had a chance to show it up. But yeah, I love. I'm working on my Imperial Guard. They actually announced something sick. So I play this army called Tau. It's
Yeah.
like it's like an alien race thing. It's kind of like the Covenant, and they announced the big range refresh with them coming up. So I am excited to pick them up. They actually announced it last night. They're called the Kroot. They're like these little cool creatures. So I was really happy to pick get those when they're releasing. They don't have released that yet, but we're getting a codex for Tau, so I'm excited to play my Space Alien Gundam guys again. So.
Nice.
Cool. I see in chat, Sega Steve said that he bought another prologue. So congratulations
Damn,
on
Steve,
your
another-
very
Another?
responsible purchase.
Wow.
Steve,
How many prologues?
He's gonna
does it
start
take?
a prologue museum.
Yeah. Prologue
That's
arcade.
awesome.
this is just
Yeah.
a prologue.
That's crazy.
Doing
There,
Way to shake it up if
there-
you're swear to listen.
there were some
you have
serious
anything,
folks. There were some serious folks at PRGE who were like interested in buying that prologue, and he was like, "No, can't. I can't." Here he's got another one. That's crazy. Hey,
Yeah.
Peter's in the chat.
You want to hear something crazy?
What
Oh,
up,
nice. Hey,
Peter?
Peter. Do you want to say hi to everybody in chat, Dave?
Get on the Peter. Get in
Yeah,
the chat
absolutely,
If you can.
absolutely.
Get
So
in the
far,
VC,
we've got 40 people in the YouTube chat right now. Everyone gives us a thumbs up, okay?
Thanks for
Like
watching.
it, share it out. Thanks for watching. AlexMod13, Paul Bort, Dragons of Saturn, Albert, AM25, Moose Tracks here, Pudgy's there, Pudgy Bunny,
Sega guys.
Silos. We got the Sega guys. Yep, we got Shadow Mask, of course,
Cool.
helping us
I'll put a
mod.
bet.
Happy birthday, Shadow Mask.
Love you, Shadow Mask.
By the
Happy
way.
birthday. Slow Coin Double Dime here. David Zaney up in the chat. Of course, our own Peter Malik. Love you so much, dude. Glad that you could join us in the chat.
Yes, sir, lots of RGB.
Joseph Erdley. Am I saying that right? Erdley. Scotty Mo, Faux Show. Con Artist.
That's just
Cronley changed his name to Con Artist. I like it.
Yeah, he was weird. Like we were talking about something earlier in the show, and it's like, how did he hear that? It's like, oh, just Cronley.
Nice.
Cronley scaring me like he
hiding in voice chat.
Neil Henderson, GG, good game, yahoy. Sasquatch in time, Arc Lighting. Hugh Jazz is here. Hey Dave, how's it going? X Buds.
We have birthday wishes.
Pompous.
Brad K99. Brad K. Frog Bull is here. Hey Frog.
No.
Tom Fum.
Sorry, you don't get a birthday wish.
Ray's here. Development Crunch. You shouldn't be here. You should be developing. No, I'm just kidding. I'm glad that you could take some time and join us.
We're on in the background, probably.
Yeah.
While coding.
Sega Steve. And did I miss anybody? I think that's it. Eric. Captain Hawden. Hey, what's up? Analog Black Sheep. Who else am I missing? Trevo's here. Wouldn't forget you.
I don't think
Retrospectors, of course. What?
Oh, exactly. Never mind.
Did my mic go on?
Nothing.
Well, you told me to read off everybody, and I was like, the numbers just kept jumping as I'm trying to read it off.
I was say I've been trying to.
Oh, and Trekkies is here.
Attention for like a minute, and you were just like going on. Like, okay.
Trekkies and Memphis. I think I got everybody. I didn't want to forget anybody. What's up, Pat?
I just want to make sure you were muted. You didn't mute us by mistake. Yeah, I just want to say happy birthday to Shadow. There's somebody else that had a birthday. Was it you, Dan?
No, that was last month. Me and Dave were last month.
Who was it? So there's two birthdays. There was.
Well, there.
Emerald Nova.
Oh,
that's right.
Birthday was yesterday.
Birthday was this week. Yeah,
that was
happy
yesterday.
Birthday to Nova. If he's watching, I don't know if he's watching.
Sorry,
but
Emerald.
Maybe he'll watch later.
Your birthday.
Anthony said heartbroken. Oh yeah, and Anthony's here. Of course, he's also here in the Discord chat.
Yes.
SkyMo's birthday was last week as well.
Happy birthday, Scotty Mo.
Birthday.
Nice. Hope you had a good day.
If you guys had a birthday and we missed it, well, happy birthday. Hope you got something Saturn.
Yeah. Except you, Sean.
Dave, you didn't say if you got any pickups or did anything cool this week.
I did. Well, okay. So I think I picked up a virus for one. I took Jesse. So Jesse and I went on a little father-son date to Dave and Buster's is kind of like it's like a ticket center, honestly. It's like a Chuck E. Cheese for adults. But they had a lot of cool games. We played a lot of Mario Kart GP, the Namco one. We played this really cool fishing game. It was like a ocean fishing game. Cast. I don't think it was a Sega game, but it was really cool. It was very reminiscent of like Sega bass fishing, except you're on like the back of a yacht. Played about House of the Dead, bunch of House of the Dead, Ghostbusters, skee ball, stuff like that. But it was fun. But you touch all those arcade games, and then you come home feeling
disease.
Like I'm going down fast. Actually, like I felt it all day, and I'm like, I hope I get through Shiro Show.
Wash your hands, everybody.
Right?
Often.
And I mean, I can't say it enough.
You know what? Get yourself an immune system. Touch arcade machines and just lick the palm of your hands.
Okay, so I also picked up a ton of these little these things, and they have like mounting brackets. So basically, and I got these kind because I have N64 controllers that have like the trident thing in the middle.
Yeah, you were posting pictures of this.
Yeah,
this looks like a cool setup.
So essentially, you can no matter what you have, if you have like the big round 3D control pad, some of these, the Dreamcast pad doesn't fit on like all of those little, not these days most controllers will fit on like the same stand if they're all like pro controllers or whatever. But that's what they have on Amazon, is basically like these tower stands with like several controller things. But these ones you can basically just customize them for whatever your controller is like, so whatever size it is. And yeah, it's great. I bought like 16 of them, and I'm just drilling pilot holes into this crappy whatever piece of furniture that I have for my setup.
Drill into the wall, directly into the wall, Dave.
Eric asked, do those do a decent job with wired controllers?
God, yeah, they really do. I wondered.
Okay, here you go.
I wondered about that, if they would. And here, let me show you guys. Let me see if I can show you.
Okay.
Here you go. So here's a like MK1 US
MK Ultra
controller. You do kind of like the roadie wrap on the back, just to keep any kinks out of it. And then I think you just take it like this, and when it's hanging up, and it holds it just fine, like with all of the cabling right behind it. And I took pictures on Twitter and whatnot, so folks can check it out. But yeah, all my controllers are wrapped like that with the cable in the back, and it works perfect. On the N64 controller, you just wrap it around the little memory card slot, you know, and that seems to work great. I also picked up something else that's kind of fun. Well, it was like a late birthday gift. It was you guys familiar with the stylophone? But this is like an analog synth. It's like an analog synth version, so it has like all these little envelope filters and delay and stuff like that.
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh yeah, it's like a little thing. It's like a little digital keyboard.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Cool. I can't hear it, Dave.
You can't hear that?
No.
No.
That doesn't make it through to my mic?
No. It must be filtering it out.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, well, whatever.
I was hoping you could do some
on Discord.
Not on Discord, but maybe on the... Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Well, at least everybody at home can hear.
That's crazy. Discord does a pretty crazy job, filtering out music.
You should do a solo, like play some like.
I played some Daytona. I played Daytona. Let's go.
I was gonna say play the opening to
Moose Track. I was not trolling. I legit couldn't hear it.
But yeah, so that's it. I'm getting sick, but hopefully we can make it through the stream and it'll be good. What about you guys? Pat got the thing. Okay, so.
Oh, I've been going back to the gym, so that's been fun.
Well, that's good.
Nice.
I've been working out. I've done 4 times this week. I'm hoping.
You've been getting gains.
Yeah.
I need to pick up a plane ticket to go to Arizona.
So you can work out with me, right?
Right.
Bring your virus with you.
Bring my virus. Hopefully I'll come virus free.
We'll get you swole.
Hey, I beat Clockwork Knight 1 this week.
Thank you.
Sorta. Really? Sorta? With the care of what?
With the help of Bo Bale's cheats, yeah.
Nice.
Hey, that's fair.
So wait, why? What is it that you find so difficult about the game? Like, did you get
the last boss? I can't beat the last boss. I have played through the entire game with no cheats on twice.
Okay.
And one of them was like, I don't know, a year ago or something, and then the other time was earlier this week. Mm-hmm. And both times I can make it to the end of the boss just fine. Game's a little frustrating at times, but I get through it. It's okay. Mm-hmm. And then that last boss, I cannot do it. He wrecks me. I'll go in there with like 7 extra lives, and they're all gone, just like that. Yeah. and then you can continue, but you have to continue back at the beginning of the attic area. Yeah. And I'm just like, nope, I don't want to go through all this again. Turning it off. I don't care.
It's kind of tough. Like, it's charming, and there are good platforming elements, but then there are areas like that where it kills you.
It's frustrating. Yeah. And it's like, in the year 2024, it really sucks having to redo progress. It's like, I think we're all very used to the way games are designed now, where it's like you keep the progress that you've made for the most part. Even like really hard platformer games like Celeste or Katana Zero. It's like, if you die, you just restart that room. You don't go back 10 rooms before, and you have to replay the last 20 minutes of your life or whatever, 30 minutes.
That's
right.
So it's like 80s for.
Yeah.
Some things like that are really hard to go back to. It's true. Like, and again, quality of lots of games these days have several quality of life improvements over that kind of bare bone stuff. I still say though, I like Clockwork Knight quite a bit. I wouldn't say it's the best game on Saturn or anything, but like I kind of hate it when folks just, for example, I'm listening to Retronauts. I told you, listening to Retronauts' latest upload of, year of 1994 in review. Great cast so far. They talk about a lot of great games. They kind of gloss over a lot of the Saturn stuff. They're just like, oh yeah, Clockwork Knight came out. Yeah. And I'm like, what's that supposed to mean? Like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Why does everybody treat Clockwork Knight so derogatorily? Like, it's not
Panzer Dragoon Saga, Dave. It's not.
Well, it's the cursed art style for one. I mean,
I love
what
it.
the hell were they thinking? Do you love it?
I'm eclectic. I'm eclectic.
I guess.
No, yes, okay. Yeah, okay. Fair. There was a time where I felt it just
Nightmare
as
Fuel.
there was a time
calls the last boss, but everything in that game is nightmare fuel.
Like I've definitely come around over the years to Clockwork Knight. But yeah, I think there was a time in my younger 20s where I was like turned off by the art style. I don't know, it's like one of those things where I did a complete 180 and I was just like, okay, I've reached a point where I really appreciate so many different kinds of art styles in games, and I'm willing to just embrace it for what it is. Like, okay, it's incredibly garish, it's incredibly like I don't know, pink and jaggedy pixely and whatnot, and I know Pat had a problem with that too. Like I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
Night is that it makes me do a 360 and walk away.
It's the eyes, the like Muppet eyes that everybody has.
Yeah.
You know, it just they seem soulless and menacing.
Oh, but it's
they somehow seem menacing.
Flowcoin, we're not talking about Mr. Bones.
They're not cute toys. They're not like toys. Toy Story, they made their eyes look friendly and charming, and Clockwork Knight, they look menacing. Like those toys are gonna wake up and kill you in your sleep.
But I mean, like it's 1994, right? I mean, it's so crude. It's so crude and archaic. When you think about like what they were able to do with what they had, you know. I'm willing to overlook it. I don't know. I think.
So cool. I love you.
I'm way too forgiving of certain games, but Clockwork Knight is one of those ones that I would actually like to see kind of like an HD revisiting of the series in some form, you know, personally.
Well, I ended up using an invincibility cheat code essentially, so I wouldn't take damage from bow bales, and then I just used the level select skip that has been known for years to jump back to the last boss. So I was able to beat it and you know, view the ending on my Saturn instead of like on YouTube. So you know, that was nice. Listen to the song, and all that jazz.
Funny enough, I think. I'm not sure if folks in the comments are talking about like the similarity between Clockwork Knight and Toy Story, just because they both came out around the same time. But I think that it's a complete coincidence. If they took if they took inspiration from anything, it was probably Pixar's Tin Toy, which was like a short that they put out earlier.
It looks more like Tin Toy than Toy Story.
Right. Like I think that's they were both thinking, oh, let's make something like related to like toys waking up and being
toys
animated. Toys coming to life. That's just a coincidence, because they would have been developing it long before, you know, when Pixar was developing.
And like when Clockwork Knight came out originally in Japan at the end of '94, that's almost a full year before Toy Story hit theaters in you know, fall '95. So
exactly.
Really,
so
Clockwork Knight beat them to market by a pretty good bit.
Dave knows what my favorite toy-based game is, though.
Toy Commander on Dreamcast.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's a good game. It is a good game. Legit good game.
I actually do love the Toys to Life concept, because I loved Sarge's Heroes and I love Toy Commander. Those are two of my favorite games. Y'all ever play Sarge's Heroes?
I didn't play Sarge's Heroes. Was that Studio 3DO? Or who did Sarge?
3DO game.
Huh. Yeah, that's after they kind of went defunct.
3DO?
No, it wasn't on 3DO. They became just a game making studio. Like they consolidated completely out of the hardware business, and now it's just like Studio 3DO. And the same folks that did like Soccer Kid and stuff like that, but they ended up doing like the Army Men series. It was actually pretty good. The Army Men
series was a lot of fun. I highly recommend, if anybody hasn't played it, to play it. It's probably the best thing that ever came out of 3DO.
Shadow Mask,
and debatably the only good thing that came out of 3DO, but that Dave will argue with me on that one.
Good point. Toys with Robin Williams in '92. That was also kind of like a possible inspiration.
I don't think I ever saw that.
Yeah, it's interesting. That actually could have been what inspired both Toy Story and Clockwork Knight, and perhaps Tin Toy.
Which one is Toys by? I've never seen that one.
It's a film with Robin Williams, and it's just called Toys.
Is it any good?
Shadow Mask is going to stream it on VHS. No, I'm signing him up. He's going to stream it on VHS.
I've seen a picture on Google of this naked mannequin tied up to a thing, and then Robin Williams driving a car into it. So I'm guessing no.
Or it's actually so bad that it's amazing. It might just loop back around.
Child's Play.
Is this like some Willy Wonka thing that he did? I don't know. I'm scared to watch it.
Yeah.
But anyways, the only crazy Robin Williams movie I love is Death to Smoochie. Have you guys ever watched that one?
Oh yeah, Death to Smoochie. Yeah,
I love Death to Smoochie. That one's really good. Do watch that if you guys want a really good dark comedy. That one's a great one.
That's the one where he dresses up as a mascot, right?
And I will.
Is that the one where he like dresses up as a mascot?
Yeah, basically he gets fired from his job and replaced by a Barney clone.
And he's
just finding a way to get his job back, and like it actually gets really dark because at one point he puts a hit on one of the dudes. And
no spoilers. No spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
A movie from whenever.
30-year-old movie might get
94 though, that was the same year that Pulp Fiction came out and Forrest Gump. And Pulp Fiction got like all the awards for everything, but Forrest Gump won like Film of the Year because Jeremy Parrish made the joke. I love it. It was Forrest Gump is like we didn't start the fire if it was a film. You know, it's just like the American public loved all the different references that they crammed into a single film. You know, as unrealistic as that would be for a single person to do all that stuff.
Been involved in all that stuff.
Been involved in all that stuff, exactly. But
I moved on from the frustration of Clockwork Knight to Formula Carts. So I played some of that, which I do really like. Formula Carts. I'm not good at that game either, but it somehow frustrates me less. And I don't have a racing wheel, so I didn't. I've heard you say, Dave, that
several times. I'm a broken record. Yeah,
with a racing wheel. I don't have one. I guess I could have tried like the analog controller. It wasn't plugged in at the time. I just used a regular D-pad controller.
You know,
and I actually got the hang of the turns kind of with that. It's weird. It's like you have to like swing your car to like make turns,
just like in real life. Just like in real, like if you go to a fun center and they have those beat up go-karts that have been driven 1,000 times, and you kind of like swing your car around and it kind of slips on that slippery track. Formula Carts does a really good job of emulating that, and with the steering wheel,
it's fun.
Yeah,
it is actually fun.
I highly recommend.
And it's so like chaotic because I mean you've got like 8 carts on like pretty short tracks, and pretty narrow tracks usually. And you're just like flying through all these crazy twisty turns, and there's just constant like position changes. Like I got so frustrated one race, I was second or third place heading into like the final turn, and I just took the turn a little too wide, and then like the entire field just flew right past me, and I got like 6th place. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was just second.
Yeah,
come on.
It's funny, like
did you have to clean up a controller at all?
Clean up the controller?
Like you just like spike it on the ground?
No, I didn't spike. I would not hurt one of my Saturn controllers like that. No.
I knew a guy that did that. It was pretty funny.
What I would say about
you,
like 5 GameCube controllers.
What I would say about Formula Carts is that like most games, if folks have an arcade racing wheel, this is their experience. Most games, you have small car, wide track, you use the racer, and it just kind of is squirrely. Your car, it's just like this floaty kind of like, you're not really, there's not a 1-to-1 attachment with the car, and Pat and I played with the racing wheels at PRGE, with Daytona. It's just like your car is just floating around, hitting walls. You just don't have that kind of, whereas for some reason, I don't know if they tuned it or whatever, but with Formula Carts, small track, really big view in your vehicle because you're way down on the ground, right? You're really low center of gravity. And when you turn the wheel, it's almost 1-to-1. It's that very, very much like your movements are mirrored perfectly on the screen with the 3D, with the arcade racer. So I say that like Formula Carts is the reason to own an arcade racer on the Saturn, I think. Yeah.
And
so,
man, the music's so good in that game too. I love it.
It is. It's surprising. It's way too good. It's better than it should be.
I spent some time just like sitting there. I'm just like looking at my phone and I'm going through the sound test in the menu, just like listening to the different tracks. Like I love it. It's so good.
Formula Carts, amazing soundtrack, and probably arguably one of the best soundtracks on the Saturn. We use it for our Patreon support thing. Is F1 Challenge. F1 Challenge has, and it's because it's Richard Jakes, but I mean it's so incredibly good, and it's so incredibly better than
that's what the closing title was called. Is played.
No. Our, when we release an editor's corner and I do the little support thing, support us, become a Patron supporter. That's that one is F1 Challenge, but the entire soundtrack slaps. The entire thing is just so good.
I don't think
AM25 said
soundtrack that doesn't slap.
That's true. AM25 said in chat, Germany has the best track. I think that I agree with you. I think I vaguely recall like going through the different tracks and like Germany's was so good. Like I was like playing the game. I'm like, oh, I got to find that in the sound test. Like I got, because I think I like finished the track right before the melody was about to like kick in. I'm like, oh no, I got to hear the whole thing. Like this race was over way too soon.
Race just to hear it.
Yeah.
Before we go to news, one more thing on Monday, was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, right? Yes. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I did a silly stream that I said I was going to do back on Friday, where I basically just browsed the internet on the Saturn. It was very slow.
Yeah, it was fun though.
But several people joined and it was fun. We got to talk about stuff. I would love to do that more. And I also had the idea that, maybe with our HostGator, we have like different folders and stuff. We could have subdomains and perhaps even like homebrew developers could have like little pages for their sites. I was really impressed by Raymi's website, which basically it does like modern HTML, but if it detects a device that's accessing it that's like incompatible, it just switches automatically to legacy mode. I was really impressed with that. Yeah, so
I would love it if like we could get the SHIRO show website or the SHIRO website to do something like that, where like it detects that like an old browser, in other words like the Saturn netlink browser, is trying to connect to it and like switches to an HTML 2.0 version of itself. If we could have our stories somehow automatically get generated in like a plain text version, maybe with like really severely down-resed versions of all the artwork, because I mean like with those Saturn modems, they can't handle very big pictures, but like if we could get those pictures downgraded to like 20 kilobytes each or something like that, 30 kilobytes, like that would load reasonably quickly for the Saturn. So I think that would be super awesome. I don't know if Ben can figure it out, but he said he wanted to try, so I'm hopeful.
Yeah,
honestly,
it's possible.
I think we should also. I think I have a better idea though. What we should do is that if it detects that the website is on a non-modern browser, it should auto redirect to heavensgate.com.
Heaven's Gate. Yeah, that's still up, isn't it?
It is.
The Hellbop comment thing. That's crazy.
Killing in that organization.
The sort of reference you're only going to get on a Sega Saturn live show full of old timers.
The young kids are like, what is that? What are they talking about?
Right. So, Synth is like, what?
Go to heavensgate.com. You can actually view one of the websites you can actually view on your Saturn perfectly. So
amazing.
If you guys really want to learn about that, you can maybe even buy a VHS from them.
Wiener Bob says in
a little bit.
Wiener Bob says in chat, at work, but dropping in real quick to say, keep up the good work, SHIRO. Thank you, Wiener Bob. Thank you for dropping in.
Wiener Bob. I love that wiener.
For the encouragement.
Ray says, using deprecated HTML tags, you can even exactly tell whether a web browser is a Planet web browser.
That's awesome.
Cool. I would love to get. I noticed DreamPipe, the guys on the Dreamcast Talk, they've got IRC chat working, I'd love to figure out how to get that working for SHIRO, have some kind of like
SHIRO
IRC chat accessible.
We can have we have an NSFW room where we just talk bad stuff.
Well, also the X-Band folks over on the X-Band Discord, they've got it so that there's some kind of Discord bot so that they can, send X-Band emails, and they enter the Discord server. So there's a channel in their Discord server where you can send X-Mail from Genesis or SNES straight to the Discord. So that's kind of neat too.
AM25 said should redirect to the old Space Jam website, but Dave tried that. They took down the old Space Jam website and it redirects to it sort of still exists.
They kept it up, but it's HTTPS now. So it's it's like a subdomain of theirs, but it's HTTPS, so you can't access it with. I could access it via the Wayback Arc. I could access it via the Wayback machine. I just didn't. But no, we did. We tried it and it worked, right? Like To a degree.
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah, I thought we did. Yeah.
But it's not quite the same. It's not how it used to be. They changed it a little bit, unfortunately.
Anyway, yeah, so I don't know. I love that stuff. I'm a nerd, and I love, just I don't know. The project that Saturn Memories is doing, it's near and dear to my heart. Like when we first started doing SHIRO, I was trying to do that too, like scrape old Sega websites and try to put stuff together. Yeah. So I'm really glad that he's doing that for our website. With us
and collaborating.
Cool. Yeah, it's amazing. So yeah,
he really brings a lot to the site. Thank you again.
Absolutely. Moving on to the news, I guess, then?
Sure.
If we're all...
I think we should talk about more suicide cults, but we can move on to
maybe at the end of the show.
Okay. Let's go back.
RetroBit.
RetroBit. Okay, let's do it.
RetroBit.
Dan's going to do it.
I will do it. So RetroBit released updated firmware Saturday for their new wireless Saturn Pro controller to fix input problems when using it on real Saturn hardware. But the virtual on mode it adds doesn't work correctly. The new version 1.1 firmware for the controller's console receiver, which can be downloaded from the company's website, we've got a link to that in our story, in our website, fixes the ZL and ZR shoulder buttons so that they now correctly mirror a Saturn's L and R buttons when the Saturn Pro is in 3D analog mode. That means that Nights into Dreams works correctly when pulling off tricks, something the controller couldn't do on its out-of-the-box firmware because its ZL and ZR buttons did nothing. Is that correct, Dave? They just literally just did nothing when you pressed them?
Originally, yeah. If you were in analog mode, they just didn't work because,
Ridiculous. So now they do. They act like L&R buttons like you would expect, and you can properly play Knights and get a high score. That is if you knew that you could even do tricks in the first place, which I'm sure not everyone does.
Really?
Me, a year ago.
The stunt...
I know now.
The stunt ribbon makes it all... Yeah. When you get the stunt ribbon, though, then you really do need to... Because otherwise you're just flying around with a ribbon.
You're just flying around and like, hey, there's a cool yellow ribbon. Like, what is that about?
What's that about? Right. No. I mean, it's not... I don't consider air brakes or stunts to be like metagame stuff. It's pretty it's pretty standard controls if you read the manual. But I understand a lot of folks are probably emulating and they're not reading the manuals or they don't have access to the manual. So yeah, I get
just
that.
Just go to SegaRetro.org, by the way. Go to Sega Retro. They have scans of a lot of Saturn manuals. I think pretty much all the ones released in the US. Not as many Japanese ones, unfortunately, but yeah, pretty much all the American ones. Yeah. Probably almost all, if not all of the European ones too. So that's a good resource. Anyway, moving on. A fan, Bo Bales, as referenced earlier in this show, made his own patch to fix this problem back on December 29th, which SaturnDave showed off on YouTube, and I do link that in the story. Right. RetroBit also said that its new firmware fixes the shoulder button inputs sticking, as well as ghost upward drifting, as they put it, directional inputs in certain titles.
I noticed that didn't happen with Knights anymore, like the upward drift thing. That I was experiencing before.
The upward drift thing.
Yes.
So that's good. They fixed that too. Yeah. So they did make a lot of good improvements to this firmware. So go ahead and download that if you can. I tried to download it and it kept failing for me. So I don't know what's up with that.
Well, here's the thing. I sent
them an email asking for support, and I don't think they emailed me back yet.
Can I comment on that?
Sure.
So it is kind of janky. The tool or whatever, the updater. You expect to you follow their instructions to a T, right? And you never get any kind of visual confirmation that your computer is recognizing the device. But you just trust that it does, and you press download, and it goes zit, you're done, and it does it. So even though there's a drop down even though there's a little drop down dialogue that your device should show up on, it never does, and you're just kind of doing it blind and hoping you don't break it.
Well, the thing is, when I followed the instructions to a T, and I tried pressing, like patch or whatever, the button,
right,
and it would bring up a little box that said that no device was found or something like that. So I don't know why. I tried different USB slots on my computer. I tried a slower USB 2.0.
Did you do the thing where you plugged the cable into the controller, held down the button, and then while you're holding down the button?
Many times.
Okay,
many times.
Yeah, so but all I can say is I did it several times and was thinking I was going to brick the device because it's broken. I mean, in all fairness, this isn't how you want to roll out a patch as it is. Like, no hard feelings, guys, but it's just very sketchy. And I just was like crossing my fingers and I was like, okay, well, if I break it, I break it, you know? So you never do get any kind of visual confirmation, you know?
I think the weirdest thing though with it that I had is that for some reason I was about to update it because that reminded me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'll use the USB-C. I already plugged it in. It actually is not USB-C. It's the USB, a micro USB connector.
Right.
Which I think is weird.
Right.
The controller uses USB-C, but the adapter uses the micro USB, which is kind of...
That is because I mean, to be fair, they use the same shell and PCB design that they already had from the previous receiver, and then they just basically made minor changes to the software or the radio or whatever. So I mean, but yeah, so that basically that seems to me like a cost savings, you know, because anytime you're going to use USB-C, then
it just sucks that you have to go hunt down another.
It's true. I had to do the same. Yeah, I was like, okay, let me see if I even have a USB micro cable line.
I'm on the 21st century. I have an iPhone, so I don't have any of those anymore.
And I mean, those things are incredibly faulty too. Like they go bad real quick. I'm so glad that we don't use a USB
those are
micro.
Some of the worst connectors ever.
Really?
iPhone, like having an Android back in the day, that sucked.
Okay, so on to the part that a lot of folks were excited about.
Yes.
Okay.
Moving on.
Yes.
Not every feature of this new firmware fared as well as some of those other input fixes. RetroBit said on social media that the update adds a virtual on mode to enable functionality on its right analog stick that is intended to emulate the Saturn twin stick controller's right stick, but the buttons are incorrectly mapped.
Badly.
On a real twin stick controller, tilting the right stick in each direction mimics the X, Y, Z, and B buttons on a normal gamepad. Tilting it up is like pressing the Y button, left is like the X button, right is the Z button, and down is the B button. You can just imagine kind of a cross on your gamepad buttons, and that's what the right stick for a real twin stick controller is supposed to be kind of pressing when you tilt it. So meanwhile, RetroBit's new firmware uses a mostly nonsensical configuration. That's my opinion. I put it in the story for the right analog stick. The PDF instructions it comes with says that tilting the stick to the left is like pressing the A button. Tilting it down, which the A button is supposed to be one of the triggers on a real twin stick, by the way. Tilting it down is like pressing the X button down instead of the X is upper left. Tilting it right is like pressing the B button. And then tilting it up does correctly press the Y button. That's the only one they got right.
Yeah.
The A button is supposed to be the twin stick's right trigger. It's not tilting left.
Were any of y'all able to actually test it in virtual on it all? Or?
Yes, it doesn't work at all. And in fact, I put it in. Dan told me to go ahead and fire up. What is it? Puyo, right? Puyo 2.
Puyo.
And Puyo is great because it has like a little input test thing where you can it's pressing all the wrong stuff. Like up doesn't even do anything. I think it just doesn't register at all.
Well, these buttons. Okay, so now I read off what the PDF says those buttons are supposed to do, right? It doesn't even do what the PDF says they're supposed to do.
No. And it doesn't even give you the same light combo as the PDF says. Like the PDF says if you hold down Start and X, you're supposed to it's supposed to light up the fourth player light, right? Instead you get like 1 and 3 lit up.
1 and 3.
Yeah, and I tried every other combination. I tried holding down every other button combination. The only other combination there is Start and B, which swaps you between analog and digital. Which is either player 1 or player 2, basically, right? So they even got that wrong. This seems like way rushed. Like they really just shouldn't have. They should have held this back.
Yeah, they didn't test this at all. It seems. So so Dave.
Let's wait for it to get good.
So Dave found from using Puyo Puyo 2's input checking screen that tilting up did nothing at all. Tilting down pressed the X and Y buttons simultaneously.
Both. Yes.
Congratulations on that. Tilting left presses the Z button and tilting right presses the B button.
Right.
Dave also found that pressing the controller's R button registered as the Saturn's Z button.
Yes.
The ZR button registers the R trigger. L button is the C button, and ZL button is the L trigger. just for completion's sake. But yeah, those
It's like
those
somebody
buttons,
sat on the keyboard before.
Yeah,
And it's
real
like,
messed
like
up.
slant. My thing is like I don't mean to be rude, but like it seems like they're not testing these games to make sure it's 1-to-1 of what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I'm not sure they have real hardware. Even if they don't have real hardware, like this stuff is out there, like what the buttons are supposed to do. Like it's not secret. And when the discrepancy was pointed out to RetroBit on X, formerly Twitter, the companies responded that it would check back with the team and see what they could do. Now, I mean, they do seem like they listen, and they at least seem responsive. So hopefully they are actually aware of this now and are looking into it, and will release another firmware to fix virtual on mode, as they put it. But yeah, so it's kind of a mixed bag here with this firmware. It's a little disappointing, but at least the 3D analog mode is fixed, seemingly. That is good.
Late, very late. Here the takeaway is kind of like this. Like I really don't want to crucify them or anything like that. Like the guys themselves are great, right? Like the guys are great. They're very like receptive. I've gone on record several times saying I kind of give them a bit of a pass just because, and again, not I wouldn't sacrifice my journalistic integrity, but I give them a bit of a grace because they're one of the only folks out there giving Saturn the kind of attention that they're giving it, So like that's worth something to me. If there were other competitors out there doing it, then again, I would like judge them even more harshly. And I do like Pat and I feel like this controller should have been out a year ago, honestly. Like two PRGEs ago, it was basically the same freaking controller. The only difference was it had Alps sticks, right? And at that same PRGE, we did a panel. This was not this year, but the previous year. At that same PRGE, one of the fans in the panel, in the audience, was like, what about the Gully Kit sticks? They just came out. And it was like we all heard about it. We were all hearing about it at that PRGE. These Gully Kit, Hall sensing sticks.
Listen to it back. It's on. It's on our.
And that was like news to me at that time. But it was like they heard about it. They found out about it. They were readily available. So that was seemingly the one hardware change that they made in an entire year, was to swap in identical, like they're just 1-to-1 replacements for the Alp sticks, right? So essentially they stuck in these Hall, they stuck these sensors. Hall sensors in there, and then messed around with the input, messed around with the tweaking, the settings and stuff like that for a year. And arguably when Pat and I got to test it, it was worse. Because I was like,
I acted the same way, because I remember you were complaining that there was an issue with it even back in PRG 2022.
I don't remember. The thing is, in PRG 2022, my biggest takeaway was, wow, this is really latent because of the crappy setup, the LCD that we had it going through. But I don't remember not being able to do
tricks.
I
think the thing you were saying is that it felt like you were doing a square motion. Like,
right.
Like you're just doing squares.
Right.
It was a square gate.
I mean, arguably there was a lot of anticipation, a lot of expectations from the fans and stuff like that. So I just, at this year's PRGE, I just kept thinking to myself, like, what were they doing for the last 365 days?
I remember you came up to me when I was playing. It's like it was like, hey Pat, what do you think? I was like, it's like, it's interesting. That's not awful.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's really fun. Is it janky for you? It's like I can't do certain tricks.
Yeah,
on
like that was it. It was like in our morning breakfast roundup, we were just like, I want to give them as much grace as I can, but I'm not gonna like tell anybody that this works when it doesn't. So they rush it out for Christmas so that they can sell a bunch for Christmas, and then and then it's broken, and then it takes them this long to patch it out, So again, like that's all stuff that it has to be like full disclosure, right? In any kind of review, I love the controller. Straight up, I love the controller. It's there. It's right in I have these new controller holders. It's right there. I can grab it at a moment's notice. It's an excellent daily driver. It's an excellent wireless controller. Build quality is solid. And in terms of playing nights, it's about 90%. It's definitely not 1-to-1, but it's about 90%. And that's great for folks who don't care about high scoring, but they want to play knights, you know? And yes, I tested it with analog. I tested it with Sega Touring Car, and the analog acceleration and braking works now. Awesome.
Nice.
Strafing works in FPSs and stuff like that. But again, like, you know, this is our takeaway, is that these fixes are coming late, and then on top of that, they push out this other thing that ends up putting egg on their face, right? Like so many fans were like, can you add twin stick support? Can you add twin stick support? And they were like, yeah, we're working on it. You know? So then they put it out, and yeah, I can understand everyone being kind of disappointed, you know? It's a bit,
and I think I don't want to. We're not even being rude to them, or like, I think we're remain neutrals. Like, we're just calling out, you know, when you know it doesn't work. It's not like we're being like, oh hey, it's like a bug report. It's like, hey, this isn't working properly. Yeah, make sure to check it out. And it's like, okay, thank you. It feels so much like, honestly, it feels so much like the Panzer Dragoon remake. It's kind of like, I like it now. Like, in hindsight, after the patches and stuff, I actually feel like it's pretty competent as a remake, you know. But day one, it felt broken, you know. And honestly, I think day one stuff is just, I'm not a fan of like this whole mentality of, oh, day one it's gonna be broken, you can buy it later. It's like, there's this Mega 64 video called The Play Date, where it's like it's like saying that you play the games when it's like fixed. If anyone look at that video, just called Mega 64 Play Date. It's really funny.
Well, and then now with you not really owning your games and basically everything being like an update,
they're not even releasing physical games anymore.
Exactly.
Like, limited run games is really the only ones that are like doing it for big companies. Like, I remember seeing them play indie games I saw, but now it's like, oh hey, the remaster of Rocket Knight. Oh, the Persona 3 through 5 games. It's like, why are big companies going through limited games to release this? Like,
Doom games from Bethesda, which is owned by Microsoft, of all people.
Yeah,
Microsoft can't put out physical release of that stuff on their own.
Like, I love it when I get the odd Switch game that is just like good to go from day one, and it hasn't seen, like Metroid Prime, like the Metroid Prime remake. Hasn't been an update, doesn't need it. It's done. Like, it was done from the factory, right? And so it's like that game, I'm like, okay, I actually own this. I don't have to ever worry about the server going offline, because it's going to be the same experience if I'm on a desert island without internet, you know?
I was hoping I can make a Hemorrhoid Prime joke as it's giving you ass pain, but really it's good.
But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and then when you have games that are essentially just like a bare skeleton and just gigabytes of patches, and you know what I mean, to basically complete what you should have gotten day one.
What are they doing?
You realize that you don't really you don't really have much there.
You don't own shit, dude. Straight up, you don't own anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of sad. Like, they're even updated like limited run games. Like, they have updates for those, and it's like, isn't this supposed to be the final thing?
And Ubisoft, you know, Ubisoft wants us as consumers to just get used to it. They've gone on record saying gamers need to just get used to the idea that they don't own games anymore. And then, you know, of course, gamers' response to that is, if
the idea of me not playing games
pirating is so pirating is not if purchasing doesn't equal ownership, then pirating doesn't equal a crime, I guess, right?
Stealing. Yeah, look, there's 1,000 games for the Saturn. That's going to last me a good long time. I can go without buying new video games.
This is true.
That's going to be the case.
I don't need to play Booper Zadooper 2 and get the Fortnite skins for the DLC day one. Like, I don't need that.
Honestly, there's a lot of good games coming out even today, but with my backlog being what it is, I could play good games for the rest of my life without playing a new game. You know?
Yeah, literally, it's like I'm replaying Ocarina of Time. It's like that's like a 10-year-old game, and I still am going through Persona 5, so I still got that.
You playing the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool.
It's mostly because I don't want to like hook up my N64 to my TV and do the whole Meister scaling and stuff. It's too much work. I'm just gonna. Honestly, I probably should have waited till they finish the Mr. Core for that, but I would just vibe in the finish. I'm almost done with Ocarina. I'm on the Shadow Temple, so I'm almost done. I just need to finish up Shadow Temple to the Light Temple, and then I'm on to Majora's Mask.
Oh my god, they like folks have been getting their hands on the MiG Switch, you know? that thing is so janky. Like even when you do like you back up your own Switch carts, right? You know, quote unquote. It's such a process from what I understand. It's like, it's a lengthy process to back up your own Switch carts. And then when you want to switch a game, you have to like push it into the thing and then eject it and then push it into the thing again. And then do it one more time. And then it like recognizes and switches to the next game. I can just imagine you're like, I need to get to the S's, you know?
Oh yeah.
Just wearing out
that
the
machine, the flash core thing. Oh my God.
God, right?
They need a UI for that. No way.
No.
I remember when the Raya was like that, where when it first was released, you had to hit a button on it to...
Yeah, you had to physically like select between that. Forget that.
No, they're coming out with a UI for that. There's no way in hell they wouldn't. That is brutal. Like that.
Honestly, just buy your games. Like just...
Yeah, I'm just buying them at that point. Like the thing is, it's funny. Like I've actually just had an issue with my sister's cartridge slot to begin with on the Switch. Where her card slot went out. I had to go send it to Nintendo to get it fixed.
Yeah. You don't want to like wear that thing out because it's only got so many springs in it, right? Yeah.
The Switch does feel kind of delicate.
It does.
Honestly,
and my kid is doing a number on mine.
It would be good if you could buy like maybe something like I don't know, maybe a device that's a handheld that's by Steam, that's like a deck or something.
True.
You could download something like maybe there's a way to play Switch games on that. You know,
you could
download stuff from a website and then you could put them on there and you could play Switch games on that. Man,
so
that should be great if you could do that. I don't think that exists though, legally speaking.
Pat.
No, legally speaking, I don't think it would.
That doesn't exist.
I've got some birthday money like burning a hole in my pocket, and I've been thinking like, so what do I want to get? What do I want to get? Right? There's this Anbernic portable that looks like a Saturn controller. You know what I'm talking about? The Arc S or whatever. Yeah. And it's like a Linux based. It's it's another Linux based portable that can do all the retro game consoles and stuff like that. But like when I looked at the reviews and stuff like that, and I was half thinking like we should have reviewed this, right? You know, but I mean honestly, at the end of the day, it's just shaped like a Saturn controller, right? So it doesn't have anything different than any of their other stuff, right? And then it can't even play Sega Rally like at proper full frames, you know. So I'm just like,
I was like, enough.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, it can play like Marvel vs. Capcom on Dreamcast just fine, but it can't play Sega Rally, it beyond like I don't know 20, 25 frames, and I'm just like, no, forget it. I can't.
Honestly,
I can't
get like a Steam Deck or something, Dave. I think that might be the better option.
I'm just gonna keep playing Saturn on a Saturn,
or play it on the Saturn.
You know what I mean?
Or no, I got one. Get a Mister.
There are those like Saru portables I just saw happening. Like they're trying to like.
Are they buyable or they're still just a thing?
Well, I think it's still just kind of like
somebody just hacked it together.
Hacked it together. Yeah. The idea though is there. The idea is potentially you could figure out a way to. I mean, I'm not a big fan of like those cutting the PCBs down, because you're just like ruining perfectly good consoles. But if you can make, like if we have a working FPGA like that can basically be a Saturn, a hardware Saturn, then a future of actually having like 1-to-1, Saturn in your pocket.
Speaking of
buy a pullable screen for that. Sorry about that, Dan.
Speaking of FPGA, real quick, the Mister has been getting a bunch of little updates this week.
Is there an article about it? Oh, okay.
No, I didn't write about it because I just wrote a story about like, hey, the Mister got his first update in a few months because Sergey is in a safer place now. He's not in a combat zone or whatever anymore.
He's not dodging bombshells.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like so, and you can tell he's in a better place now because he's putting out an update like every other day. Now, they're not like big updates like they were before, where it's like he'd only get some out every month or two and it would fix a bunch of stuff. Right. Now it's more like, here I made a couple tweaks to VDP2 and now this game is working better. And that'll be the update for the day. But like he's putting stuff out every other day. So I don't know how exactly you guys want me to handle that coverage. Like, should I do like a monthly roundup of all the updates for the Mister? Because I mean, I feel like even weekly would be too much. It's just like, okay, he did more stuff to all these chips.
That would be a great idea. I think a great idea would be a once a month, either beginning or end of the month, roundup. with a bullet point list, and then photo per thing, photo or GIF per thing.
Yeah.
And just kind of show like just a scrollable itemized list of improvements. That would be great. But you could even farm that. You could farm that out to our new writer. Shouts to so it's
to Cecil.
Cecil
Harvey.
Yeah, Cecil Harvey. You could do it yourself if you're passionate about the Mister stuff.
I've been the Mr. guy here for a little while, even though I don't own a Mr. The only one of us who does is Pat.
I know, right?
Pat, you have written a Mr. story before.
Oh yeah,
on the site.
definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
So I mean, I have the Mr., but I don't write the stories on it.
Yeah,
there's some irony. To be fair though, I don't think
if you want to though,
Mr. since I don't even know last time I booted on my Mr. To be honest with you.
You're gonna have to update it because it's gonna be playing Saturn games better these days.
Honestly, I think I'm gonna put it in my room and I'll play some stuff on it.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah.
I think I mentioned talk about sleeping with my Mr. before. So
speaking of Cecil, by the way, he is and getting away from sleeping with your misters.
Right.
Cecil is like getting ready to put another story up on the site soon. I guess he's now writing about the new Saturn Bomberman tournament that started this week. So
awesome.
He'll have a nice little he wanted it to be like a sort of like a preview, but there've already been a couple of matches. But I mean, this is going to be a big tournament with 16 people, so it's going to go on for a little while. So it's still pretty early in the offing. So yeah, I think that'll be a good story.
Right.
So that should be
soon. I actually have a game plan. Maybe I might do it live with
set up your Mister.
Time.
Playing in the Bomberman tournament. That's right. You're in there. Yeah, that'd be cool. You should do that.
Next up is a best of Saturn that's going to make Dan's blood boil.
Take it away, Dave. Take it away.
Okay. So best of Saturn, Madden 97. Now that's okay. How about like decent of Saturn? Like, okay, so in 97 your choices were Sega's football game, which was absolute garbage. Okay, NFL 97, or you could go with a Madden game, right? Now I'm not a huge Madden fan, and I know there are folks out there that are huge Madden fans. I would say that the Madden football games were always dependably competent, right? You knew what you were getting, and every year it was basically the same thing with a few more bells and whistles, sometimes more than others, but essentially, like there's some folks that like played a ton of Madden. And then there's other folks that just completely passed on the series. I was one of those folks that just like, I recognize it. I acknowledge that it was a hell of a lot better than NFL 97. And Saturn didn't even have a football game in 96. But essentially,
in 95.
That's right, 95. But I mean, this is probably like the best you could do for American football on Saturn was Madden 97 or Madden 98, basically.
And to be fair to this game, it was one of the best selling Saturn games in the United States. It was like it was top 10 all time. And it did sell really well. Just the one released in 96, Madden 97. For some reason, sales fell off so badly in 1997 that Madden 98 did not make top 10.
That was just Saturn.
I'm noticing something weird. The screenshot here on Madden 97.
Oh, the Steelers.
Can you pull it up? No, I'm looking at the color palette. There seems to be a distinct lack of browns.
Oh God, you're really trying to piss him off. You're really trying to piss Dan off.
I'm not.
I'll leave.
He will leave.
I'll turn off the cell phone.
No, don't.
I will go.
Don't.
So
I will go.
Yeah, I will read what Peter's written, though. Sports titles were a huge reason for the success of the Genesis in America. No argument there. So it was perplexing that the Saturn didn't follow suit. Of course, we know now, with some inside information that they were really struggling to get developers to handle those games. The system was sorely lacking a solid mainstream football title until EA's Madden 97 hit the scene. Continuing the excellent pedigree of the Genesis originals, this first Saturn update was just what the doctor ordered. The game sold by the bucket loads, and good too. Unlike most of EA's Saturn production, this was a very good football game. Okay. Peter thinks it's very good. I didn't even know that Peter was a football fan.
I thought he played. I thought he's Canadian. He plays hockey, and
They have Canadian football.
They do. I'll be honest with you.
It's very similar to the NFL.
I got into football big time, like football video games big time with the NFL 2K series on the Dreamcast. Dude, that was just more my flavor. Like, and I mean, of course, it was like a head snapper too. Like when you saw it in the mall, you saw it on these, like, they would put the CRTs outward facing, you know, to people walking by, and you'd think for a second you were watching a live football game because of the motion capture. Now that's probably sounds silly, but back then, like, motion capture in video games was like a brand new thing. And I mean, seeing it like that was like the uncanny valley kind of, like, for a second there, you did a double take and you were like, oh, wow, this looks like a live TV broadcast, right? Because they did all the camera angles. They did like the weird blurred, you know, kind of like depth of field thing. And it was just like, that's what got me into like football games on Sega. Before that, I was just like, I really didn't care for Madden games, but
I did have one good, my favorite NFL game did come out in that generation though. My absolute all-time favorite, NFL Blitz.
Oh, NFL Blitz was great, but then that was basically like NBA Jam, right? But for NFL, you know?
Yeah, it was. But yeah, honestly, it was my favorite football game. Blitz is so good. Like,
honestly,
I still play that every time I see it. Every time I see it in the arcades, I play that game every single time.
I know Dan hates the Steelers, but I will say for the Cowboys, that's not a logo. That's a rating right there. 1 star.
Yeah, it's a 1 star for the Cowboys, right? I got 1 star right there for the Cowboys.
That's right. Anyway, yeah, Best of Saturn. I don't know. I guess it qualifies as Best of Saturn in terms of sales at least. And if Madden 97.
Yeah.
I got a copy over there somewhere on the shelf there. I just don't know that I ever pop it in and play it.
Yeah, no, I'm with Dan. I don't know why Peter picked like the teams we hate the most to be on there.
Right.
Like, I hate the Cowboys and Dan hates it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm not
well, and you know what my NFC team is? It's the Philadelphia Eagles.
What's that?
Who do the Eagles hate? The Cowboys. Like, why these two teams, Peter? Why these two teams?
Why these two
Peter
teams?
just like, hey, you know what? I know Pat likes the Giants. I know Dan likes the Eagles.
Look, it's 1996. Like, he could have put the San Diego Chargers, because they still were the San Diego Chargers at the time in 96.
Who was in the Super Bowl?
Put the Arizona.
Who was in the Super Bowl? Yeah.
Cardinals, yeah. 90 and 90s. I have no idea, Dave.
I'm just wondering.
I wasn't paying attention to football in 1996.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Yikes.
Yikes. Moving right along. Z-Team. They've dropped Maria Renard's Revenge, an Amiga Castlevania tribute title. They ported their own port basically. So just yesterday they dropped it in. They announced it in the Sega Extreme 29th anniversary Saturn anniversary game competition, hosted by Sega Extreme, organized by Dr. Emerald Nova. And essentially this started out as an Amiga game. That was then ported to the Amiga CD32. That's now been and that port has now been ported to the Saturn. You play as Maria Renard, a young vampire huntress and distant relative of the Belmont clan. Here, Maria must traverse through dangerous landscapes and fight many monsters through 4 levels while defending herself with the use of a bird that protects her from harm. The Saturn version port includes all graphics, maps, and level design by Dom Kid and was built by Skigor, I don't know, using Johannes Fett's Joe engine. The port is playable both on real Saturn hardware and emulators. Is still very much a work in progress. Just disclaimer, it's very broken. Like, several aspects of it are broken, but it's a good showing of, an example of progress that's being made up to this point. There's a download here that will take you to their page, and you can actually donate to the project if you'd like, or they have an option to just, say, no, thanks, take me to download. Free. But you can do that. And then, of course, I didn't have it. We didn't make a video. We didn't have time before this, so I went ahead.
It came out until you told me.
Okay, so I went ahead and plugged what Cherry Pixel Ninjas, the UK channel that did a gameplay portion of it, so folks can see. And he did it on the Mister. Yeah, he played it on the Mister, and then also tested it out on RetroArch. I'm sorry?
Is that what's in black and white?
Oh, hold on a second. Let me mute that. Okay, so you said it was in black and white?
Yeah, they show the video in black and white.
Oh, yeah. So this is interesting.
Color on the mystery?
This is interesting because yeah, the game is not black and white as you can see from the screenshots. He tried it out on the Mister, and several things about it were broken. Like, for example, it had level 1 just kind of static on the screen the whole time. It won't go away. There are like certain items that are like jittering, jumping up and down. The boss is like, you can do her special, but then I don't know, there's just a bunch of like weird things going on with it. He went over and he tried it out on RetroArch, and now like the background is purple. So I mean, take that for what you. Sounds like
a job for Patrick.
Sounds like we need the Sega guys, if they're listening. Maybe the Sega.
They need Patrick to do it.
We did. Patrick, go ahead and get it on. Get it on the satiator. Get it on a real hardware.
I'm working.
Do a video and then.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, whenever homebrew games get played on anything other than real hardware, there's a good chance that something about them isn't going to work, and possibly nothing about them works. Like Ponus Slide Hop Homebrew, which is also in this year's Sega Stream competition. That game, like the patch notes say very loudly, do not play this on any version of Yabause, and because it's not going to run. I think it says like you can play this on Mednafin, which I have tried it on Mednafin. It does work. Mednafin. And of course it works on real hardware. But yeah, it's like if you're playing on something, especially like the Mister, which is still very much a work in progress, there's a good chance stuff's going to be weird. Especially because homebrew developers are going to be doing things their own way. They're not necessarily going to be doing things the way that like Sega officially would have asked developers to do things. And they might be trying new things that haven't been tried before, trying to pull off different tricks that are just not accounted for in retail software. So when emulators might not be getting them right.
Trekkies even mentions right here that all Saturn emulators fudge VDP2 anyway, so I'm not surprised at the background being that way. But I will say they went on record. Z-Team went on record saying it's good to go for emulators as well. So I think that's why people are like, okay, so it should work on emulators. That's what they said in their posting, is that it should work on real hardware or emulators. But the thing is, I can't say, because I literally wrote this article a couple hours ago at work, and I haven't had a chance to stick it on a real Saturn and test it out. But for folks who are watching this right now, I mean, if you can watch and do something else at the same time, you can help us test it right now.
Yeah, has anybody in chat played this? I have not had a chance to play this yet, because like Dave said, this just went up on Sega Stream, like yesterday?
Yeah.
It does look really cool. Like, this is like pretty impressive looking, and I do want to check it out, but I haven't had a chance yet.
It looks like Z-Team. I'm kind of sus on that art. I hope that's not AI generated. So
that does look that key art does look AI generated.
Not trying to show hate, but I'm not
because it doesn't look it doesn't look like a real painting that somebody would do in like Photoshop.
Yeah, the eyes look a little weird.
Some of the gradient.
Just steal art from the things. It's better.
I mean, I sort of give them a pass because they're a homebrew developer and they're mostly concentrating on making a video game, and they're just like, oh, but we need like something for a storefront. We don't know how to paint anything. All right, whatever, ChatGPT, or whatever.
Listen,
Dolly.
I'm not expecting to do a Michelangelo to get the art. I mean, you could have just took a render and just put it over there or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Scotty Mo says she's definitely pretty shiny.
Yeah, she's very shiny.
I don't mean to hate. I don't know. AI just...
Trekkie says things that work in emulators will give result in VDP2 vomiting rainbows on the real thing. Interesting.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Sometimes if you develop homebrew to work on a particular emulator, then when you go to use it on real hardware, then it won't work. There's just too many differences between the two still, unfortunately.
Yeah, we
could take a look at it during the SHIRO show. I can do a live stream today, so we could do that. Or
they should.
I can load up the beta of Persona 5. That's also an option.
They should hit up AM25. He could make some good art for them for their game.
Yeah, AM25. Yeah. I love AM25. Sorry, I love AM25.
next, I'm gonna have Dan tell us all about Awesome Games Done Quick 2024 and virtual highlight.
Everyone's favorite Sega Saturn game, Virtual Highlight, which of course was, I guess it's basically an RPG, right? Like an action RPG.
Yeah. Atlas game too. Atlas published in the West.
Yeah. It was T&E Soft that developed it after making our favorite golf game, Pebble Beach.
Exactly.
Yeah, with Craig the Walrus Stadler. So a new world record in speedrunning Virtual Highlight was set this week at the Awesome Games Done Quick charity event. Link is the runner's name, finished the 1995 Saturn RPG in 27 minutes and 11 seconds Thursday morning, live on site. Yeah, at the Wyndham Hotel in my favorite city, Pittsburgh. He ran in the any percentage category, in other words, reaching the game's end regardless of how many items were collected or objectives accomplished along the way. Just get to the end however you can. So he beat the previous record of 30 minutes and 48 seconds. That's a difference of like 3.5 minutes, guys. That stood for the last 10 months, which was set by Zofar, who congratulated Link on social media later that morning. That is the same Zofar's domain.
Nice.
Both of them do stream on Twitch, running through Virtual Highlight. So shout outs to both of them. Each playthrough of Virtual Highlight is set up randomly based on a string of letters and numbers that the player inputs to begin the game, for those who don't know, which Highlight uses as a seed to generate its world.
Way before Minecraft, right?
Yeah, way before Minecraft. It's just like Minecraft, right? Yeah. For the kids in the audience, it works like how Minecraft does when you put your name in.
Exactly.
During the run, Link said that he tested a lot of seeds. I don't think he said specifically how many. He referenced that there are like 40 billion possible seeds, which the manual for this game says. I'm sure he didn't test all 40 billion.
No.
I think he probably tested, I wouldn't be surprised if he tested 100 though.
Right.
At least. He's a speedrunner. And he eventually found one that he thought would be really good for a speedrun. So I'm guessing that's probably why there's such a wide gulf in the the world records here from the previous one to the current one. Is it's not just about how good you are at playing Virtual Highlight, and that is a big factor, but it's also about finding a good seed that will just put all the items you need as close together as possible.
Yeah, he found very early in the game, like he had access to a sword that I guess is top tier, and everybody thought it was like dummied out. It was like a dummied out item, but it turns out no.
Yeah,
it was real, and you can find it in the game.
Have it.
Yeah, there's like there's just like a little elevator in the middle of a field where you just like go down and open a chest and get this top tier sword, that's like OP.
Yeah, it's so weird. He said it's the second best sword in the game.
Second best sword in the game. But I mean, considering that you get it right away, it's might as well just go for that because it's easy.
And I'm guessing the best sword in the game must be really hard and involved to get to. So it's for a speed runner, it's much better to just grab the second best. You can just go down an elevator in the middle of the field. Again.
And I also noticed that one strat that he was using was like strafe running. So he was always running diagonally to avoid collisions with the trees, which
Forward and to the side.
I never even thought to do that, because it's true that in this game you run into trees and it's like so annoying, So
well, it's not just to avoid the trees, but it's also because you have acceleration going forward and you also acceleration going to the side.
Right.
So if you do both going diagonally, you're getting double the acceleration. So you go much faster.
Okay.
You kind of get that a little bit in a lot of older games. I remember I played GoldenEye so much on the N64 when I was a teenager, and it wasn't like doubled like that, but you did get more speed if you were moving diagonally. So I totally know what he's talking about there. Yeah, looking down, but that's just a frame rate thing. So
I noticed
the poor N64 doesn't have to render so much.
I also noticed that he was playing the Japanese version. And I wasn't sure.
Yeah, he did play the Japanese version.
Did he say anything specific about that version over?
He didn't say. No, he said he referenced another speedrunner whose name I forget off the top of my head, and that speedrunner had found that the Japanese version was faster, but he didn't specify why. He didn't go into that, unfortunately. I'd like to know why exactly that is. I mean, oftentimes speedrunners will use the Japanese version of a game because Japanese uses fewer characters on screen to communicate more information than English, just because of kanji mostly. You have one character that could mean 20 20 letters in English. So you just have less text to get through.
Less screens to have to,
and less screens to have to click through. So I would guess it's probably that reason. But who knows? Maybe there are other reasons. Maybe the original Japanese version has more glitches to it, or it just runs faster. Who knows?
Base code slowed it down.
Maybe.
Oh,
is that version all in English, Eric? Yeah, no, it's in Japanese, but they do have a little bit of English in there.
Trekkie said also, didn't we actually find that the frame rate is programmed to be lower if you have too much stuff in your inventory? In other words, like you get heavier, and you get slower. Yeah, that is a thing about the game that I noticed.
Which I think doesn't Nick reference that in his Pandemonium review video on it?
Yeah,
which I do link in our story on the website. I do say, for a closer look at Virtual Highlight, check out the review video that SHIRO's own Pandemonium made in 2019. Excellent video. All of his videos are excellent.
I would argue that it's more enjoyable watching Nick's video than playing the game. unless of course you're surrounded by friends playing this game, and then you're doing it like
you're all drinking beers,
Science Theater 2000, you're kind of lampooning the game. Sure, if you're all drinking beers and lampooning the game, then I think that would be fun, but it's definitely not one of those games that I'm going to be like, playing by myself just for the fun of it. That sounds like torture to me.
But there you go. But it's still cool. This is, I believe, the only Saturn game that was run at GDQ this year. They don't do Saturn games too often. In 2022, they did Knights and Bulk Slash, which is awesome.
Didn't get the fan translation going.
Yeah, and they didn't do the fan translation because they didn't want to get into legal trouble, which makes sense with Konami.
They should have just lied and say that was originally the game.
That's just how it is. Yeah, it was all in English.
Just lie. I mean, are they really gonna know it was fan translated?
They'll never get back to anybody who cares. Yeah, but anyway, this is the only Saturn game this year, and they got a world record. And world records don't actually happen that often at GDQ. Probably because half the time their PC games crash.
Right.
Man, I was so frustrated watching last night. They kept trying to play PC games and they kept crashing. Armored Core 6, he couldn't even play that game right. Just as an aside.
Wow.
They had to, every time they completed a mission in Armored Core 6, the game crashed. So the runner had to keep remembering when a level was about to end, and so that they could hit start and quit out of the mission manually, and then just use like a replay mission feature to just play each mission of the game. You couldn't even like play it normally.
That's kind of messed up.
And that's a main reason, that is, I guess, because From Software is not very good at programming PC games, and they were running on an earlier patch version before it got more patches to fix it, because that early version also didn't have a bunch of balance changes that made things worse for speedrunning.
I don't have any issue with Elden Ring.
Yeah, well, maybe they patched out the bugs. Maybe that one just fared better.
So it's weird.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess Armored Core 6 has issues. But I mean, even later in the night, they were playing another game. They were playing Halo in the Master Chief Collection on PC, and that game crashed on it was like a co-op thing, and one of the runners, their PC crashed twice. And I kind of wonder if they were running on the exact same PC that the Armored Core 6 guy was running on, because that one seemed to be having issues. That's frustrating. It's too bad, because they were on like world record pace with that Halo run before they crashed. It's like, man, that sucks.
Zam. But I mean, they got a new world record at AGDQ, right? With Virtual Highlight, right? That was a new record.
Yes, they did get a world record with Virtual Highlight, probably because they're running on a beautiful Sega Saturn and not a PC. So there you go. I'm going to say that's why. Oh, you're RoboDave, by the way, Dave. You're super RoboDave.
Robot too.
You're like muffled RoboDave.
They put the gag in his mouth.
Brother.
It sounded wrong. But yeah.
You're good at the wrong jokes, Pat.
How's that?
Yeah, you're much better, Dave.
Oh,
much better.
Great.
Less gagged.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so congrats to MechaLink. That's awesome. He showcased one of the Saturn's classic games, best of Saturn, and then also was able to get a world record in it. Yeah, and got a world record live on stage. Like, that can't be easy. So that's awesome. I wish that they would present these Saturn games at better times, though, because I think he ran at like 6 in the morning Eastern. I was not awake. I know when they did Bulk Slash a couple years ago, I would have loved to have been there, watch it live, but it was like in the middle of the night. I had to work the next day. I couldn't stay up for that. So I get the Saturn is niche, and always has been, but like, come on, give us a decent runtime one of these days, please.
Yeah, no, I agree. Wasn't Bulk Slash like in the middle of the night too?
That's what I just said. Yeah, Bulk Slash in the middle of the night. I couldn't watch it, so that was disappointing to me. I feel like Nights wasn't at a great time either, but it was at a better time, maybe like early in the morning, but not like 3 a.m. But yeah.
I'll go to AGDQ and speedrun Mr. Bones. I'm sure everyone would love that. It'll be torture percent.
Everyone would love that.
Maybe how long I could stand it before I just break the game disc on stream and quit.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to note that there have been a ton of submissions coming in for the Sega Extreme competition. Dave wrote about one of them here, and we just haven't had time to write about
I'm looking
all the
forward
others
to Wordle.
flooding in. But I don't know how we're going to cover Wordle because you can't play it without a keyboard.
Well, I just asked Sega Steve. I was just like, hey, Sega Steve, do you have a spare keyboard? I think I'm going to need one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't think any of us have Saturn keyboards. Or
I need one anyway for
in.
I need one anyway for the web browsing and stuff like that and chatting.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Wordle is a homebrew game submitted to the competition that can only be played with the keyboard. No other controller will work, and the developer acknowledged this. They know that they did it that way, so that's their choice. They can do it however they want. But yeah, it does make accessibility a little harder.
Yeah.
So
one thing I noticed that they said that they were like a bare to the metal programmer, and that they were basically like just reading Saturn documentation and kind of like doing it the old-fashioned way.
Props to them.
That's wild. Props to them. Yeah, it's a start. You know, I mean, it's doing Wordle, I mean, I think is probably like a good place to start if you're doing that kind of thing, you know? So that's cool.
Well, so I wanted to mention that Night of Dragon did put out Shadows of the Tusk's full English translation, 99% English translation, publicly for everyone. It is in the Sega Extreme competition thread, so please head over there to check it out. It also comes bundled with a special patcher, a version of his patcher that you have to use that one to patch your legally owned copy of the Japanese exclusive Shadows of the Tusk.
100% legally owned.
I'm curious if in progress releases. Let's see if he's got it. Shadows of the Tusk. Where is it? Does he have the latest? He does.
Maybe he hasn't.
He does. Private Eye got the.
Great.
Yeah, he got the. He's so good. Exactly. So he got the latest one.
Private Eye is clutch.
So yeah, there's that.
An article about that coming out.
No, we should. I should. Do you want to do that? Do you want to do the Shadow of the Tusk full translation article? Okay, cool. It is in your hands, Pat.
It's a really good game.
It was like on the back of my mind to like do it, but it's like I've been so distracted by watching GDQ this week. I haven't actually written it. The only story I wrote was about GDQ.
Did he say that it actually has the patch in it for netlink play? Oh yeah, it does.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the other thing. It also comes with a new version of the netlink tunneler included with the zip file, and that version will allow you to play Shadows of the Tusk only. I don't think any other games. Online with an emulator, Chronos, I think specifically, or Mednafin, something like that. One of those are the emulators that you can use. Yeah, Night called us slackers. We are. I'm sorry. I apologize. I do feel really bad. There's just so much news coming out in the Sega Saturn world that we can't keep up with it.
There's another,
but we'll get to it.
Games, yeah.
There was another.
Is it worth playing single player? Probably.
There was a homebrew newcomer who just uploaded Pixel Poppy Pong, Nando, Sega Extreme user Nando, and it's like this cute little, I don't know, kitty paw soccer game, like where you have like a fish bowl in the middle, and you're batting it back and forth. Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
So, but with little kitty paws and stuff like that. So that's going to be interesting. That'll be cute. Macchiato and
too much Saturn
Jelly
news, a great problem to have. Yes, it is. It's a great problem to have, and we have a ton of news coming out in our community, which is awesome. But
absolutely,
we can't keep up with it. So I think next week we should really try to push to write about all this stuff, because I mean, people are doing awesome stuff in this competition, and we need to get the word out. So yeah, let's maybe coordinate on getting that together, getting that written up between the three of us, and also Cecil. You know, we should be able to do it.
Done.
I'm seeing if he's got the latest Dungeon Master next.
He just the competition Hun said. The competition, I mean, technically the submission's been open for a few months, but it does end this Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So tomorrow at 7 Eastern is the deadline. So after that, judges will start playing them and judging them. And then I think judges have like a month.
Yeah, February, end of February, I think.
End of February, okay.
Harshly.
Yeah.
To judge, which the two of you are both judges, so good luck.
Yeah. Good luck.
And then we'll have the results of the competition, I guess, in early March. So that'll be cool. It's a little later this year because I guess a lot of the homebrewers like requested an extension. I mean, it used to be January 1st, like at midnight, as soon as the new year rolled over, and then Emerald Nova realized, a lot of these coders are like working on these games over their winter breaks, and like they could use a couple days. So then I think he changed it to being like January 3rd or 4th or something like that, which made sense. But then as we were getting up to that, everybody this year was like, we need more time, please. So he pushed it back to tomorrow, to January 20th. So
kind of makes you wonder what's going to come in tonight.
I know. I'm really looking forward to it.
I know that we're going to see CubeCat again. I think, you know.
I was watching that. He was developing it live on his Twitch, Seven Shades' Twitch, and I was watching that a little bit the other night. That was cool. That was fun. Emerald Nova's in there talking to him.
Of course, I have to wait it, you know, because I've already judged CubeCat twice, you know. But I mean,
well, this will be a new build. He has a new engine. He has different levels.
Exactly.
So Trekkies said Trekkies is trying to get a Soul Hackers build ready. That'll be cool. Yeah, Trekkies has been translating Soul Hackers on the Saturn. So hopefully you can get that in, and
Trekkies
I'm sure it'll be in good shape.
Trekkies did an amazing Cinepack demo reel, just showing you just everything that could you know, that it was submitted a while ago, but I mean it's awesome, you know, just shows you just everything that you could do with Cinepack, you know, all the tricks and different resolutions and stuff like that. It really does speak
honestly,
to like how
be hard though.
Sorry?
This competition be hard, especially the translations, because I would say, Dan, you should be a judge, and I realized, you legally can't be a judge.
No, he can't.
Because I submit things.
I'll be honest with you, just got to lay everything out and kind of like look at it as good as you can, you know, for what it is. You know, there's a lot of really cool stuff, and it is going to be hard. It is going to be tough, like putting it all in order. I'm not exactly sure where the chips are going to fall, but I'm not gonna, you know, give that away until I post my ranking.
Right. Yeah, you got to hold off. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you don't know what's going to come in at the last minute.
Exactly. Exactly.
Malenko said, "Want me to officially enter the last place entry for Street Fighter 03? LOL. You know, you may as well throw it in there, because it's not just a competition, but it's also a showcase. Like that's the big reason to enter, is just to like, you know, get everybody's eyes on what everybody else is doing, and kind of show off what you're able to do, and what's happening in the Saturn community, and how vibrant it is. You know, they were talking on Seven Shades' stream the other night about the Saturn homebrew scene, and how the competition has really made it explode. It's given everybody a reason to make stuff, because then, you know, there's people paying attention to it, and, you know, you get kind of recognized for your work, and people are playing it. Yeah. And meanwhile, there's nothing like that, I guess, as far as we know, for like the PlayStation, for example. And so that's probably a reason why you don't really hear about a whole lot of like PlayStation homebrew happening. There are PlayStation fan translations, which is cool. But it just feels like Saturn has a lot more going on with it right now, even though the PlayStation should theoretically be easier to develop for. Right?
It is. It absolutely is. And honestly, I think that's part of it. It's just like,
the challenge isn't there.
There's a ton of cool stuff for the PlayStation, arguably, even homebrew wise, but it's just not as impressive. I guess from a like, when you see an impressive piece of homebrew on the Saturn, you're just like, wow. Like I realize like what it took for them, or at least I'm relatively aware of like what it took for them to achieve this, and that's just like, it's a steep challenge, you know. So yeah, I think maybe there's that, you know, just like folks are excited to be able to like push the hardware and do stuff that it never really got a chance to see, you know, in its own lifetime on the market. You know, I'm curious if Hot Rod X is gonna, who is a member of Sega Extreme community, if he's gonna submit that X-Men rebuild, I guess, you know. I wonder, you know.
Yeah,
because it wasn't on it.
Good.
Yeah, it was good. I think it's definitely last year. Was it last year? There was something. Voxel. Like at the 11th hour, I reached out to Voxel and I was like, "Are you not gonna submit your your Sonic Extreme thing?" And he was like, "No, I wasn't going to." I was like, "You totally should," you know. And it ended up placing, you know, like so.
Yeah,
I don't know.
High up.
Yeah, so I definitely think folks should. I mean, I know not everyone's like super plugged into Sega Extreme, and there are developers who just kind of like shadow drop stuff on their own. But I mean, definitely if you put in the work, you know, put it out for so it can be considered and given its fair due, you know.
Yeah, and like people in years to come will, you know, look back on each year's competition and see what was submitted, and it'll be more remembered that way.
Right.
Whatever was there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pat.
I want to say the Trekkies was saying. I wonder how the Cinepack reel will be streamed, and I can
Isn't that a bunch of copyrighted stuff?
The only one that I know it's going to give me trouble is the 007 intro, and then the Dragon Ball, because Toei will take down everything for no reason. Like literally, I don't think he has to tell me a way to skip like specific ones. Because I cannot do the Dragon Ball opening, that will get immediately copyrighted.
Can't even show one frame of it.
You know what's funny?
Toei is really strict on their stuff on YouTube. They will. Yeah. It's the worst thing is that it's not even like we caked the thing. They will.
No, there you go. Skip with L&R buttons, Trekkies.
Check it out.
Skip 007 and we're gonna skip Dragon Ball, but I can do Final Fantasy. I can do the Sonic Adventure opening, but I cannot do those two because our channel will be taken down, especially Toei.
Damn,
Toei will 1,000% take our channel down.
The netlink stream that I did this past Monday, just the internet browsing stream. I visited the Sega Touring Car website that Zayden is hosting over on the Dreampipe, and just because it played that like 5-second clip of So High, you know, so high like a star up in the sky, you know, from Sega Touring Car. It's this crunchy like wave version that is so compressed, you know, that the Planet Web browser downloaded it and played it for like 5 seconds, and our video got copyright striked, just like that.
Really?
Yes.
That's ridiculous. YouTube's so stupid.
I know, right? Like, and it's not even that like audible. Like, it's not. It's really low resolution audio, and it's still got it.
You could literally forward out a tune to a broken microphone, and it'll be able to pick it up and copyright strike you for it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, we used to think we could like maybe get away with things and it would like skate by, but no. Like nowadays, it's pretty much like, is it copywritten? Yeah, YouTube's probably gonna get it because it's all like
we can't
AI.
Even do Imaginary Rare Earth anymore.
I know, right?
Gets hit.
Exactly, because it was an anime, right? And that's
they think it's the anime opening, so you have to skip through that or cut it out, or you can't do it.
It's crazy. Like you can get away with like a fair bit of like chiptune music still, but I wonder how long, if our days are numbered for that too. You know, like now.
I just don't want to be a pain because it's like every other video that we do for SHIRO or like streaming, we get taken down. It's like, oh yeah, or like remember when our entire live stream got taken down because I forgot when it was, which game we played. Oh, Death Crimson, because some Japanese YouTube channel played it and they kept copyrighted Death Crimson. And it's like, no.
Not even theirs.
No. Yeah, that doesn't belong to you. Exactly.
Yeah, and we fought that and beat it because that was stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know like if it's a thing with Japan, but everything is so strict over there. They will take down your video if it is. It's like, it's really bad. Like they will just take down your video straight. It's like they don't have any copyright thing. It's like just straight harsh as it could be. And it's like, dang, dude, can we not do that?
Right. Well, I'd love to shout out our $10 and up patrons that provide us with tons of support financially to be able to run the website, go to cons, purchase netlink bundles or whatever, do spontaneous things, and those people are a Murder of Crows, who we love and was with us since the beginning, Blue Moon 95, Casual Seth, Cerulean, Chris Piper, aka Pipe Dreams Games. I like to support what he does. He's really good at that. Chris 1997 XX, Daniel Fredrickson, David Zaney, who's here with us right now in the chat, Derek Pascarella, A Team, Emerald Nova, Fat Drunk Friend Otaku, Gem Clash or Rank, Ian Keg, Jay Hersey, Johannes Fetz, Mr. Joe Engine himself, Justin, Memphis, Michael Sabag, Nate Lawrence, Normal Guy, Newt Rages, Robert Ramsey, Rowan Dinked, Sega Steve, Shadow Mask, Stoneman, Tanuki Trev, What Is This, and Young Money Swee. All of you guys are supporting us at the $10 and up level, and you get your name shouted out on the show every week, except for last week when I had the names up and we ended up talking about patrons and stuff like that, but then I completely forgot to shout you guys.
Like a couple new ones, but forgot about all the existing ones. So thank you to everyone.
I owe them something.
Is fine.
Yeah.
We don't really keep any content behind a paywall, but if you support us at any level, you do get early access to content, so if, in terms of the mainline cast, you get it like a month ahead of everyone else, and then in terms of Editor's Corner and stuff, you get those like a week in advance. So there's little reasons here and there to
and then Pandemonium videos you get pretty early as well.
That's right, you get early access to Panda videos.
And not to mention you get short clips, like Panda just posted a short clip for his Sega Rally. Like in our oh, by the way, we forgot to mention this because a lot of people I guess are forgetting, we have a Discord
we do
a Discord insider chat.
That's
I think
right.
A lot of patrons forget that we have that.
Yeah,
so
Gregory was like, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, so if you have Patreon and you haven't connected your Discord account, do it so that way it auto gives us gold. We can't go through there and find out what your Discord name is on there. So if you don't have access to the inner channels and you back us at the $3 and up level and you still don't see it and you haven't connected your account, let me know. So that way I can get you the status on manually. But yeah, we had some issues with people, so just want a heads up. If you are part of the Patreon and you haven't connected your Discord, do that now. You get to the inner channel and get early access. That's where we announce a lot of the stuff, so we'll add everyone in those channels to give them oh hey, early access to this came out, watch it now, so that way if you miss it in your email it'll come through.
That's under SHIRO Insider. You get the SHIRO Insider chat. You also get access to the Panda Pad. Is that right? Because the Panda Pad's under there, and then where you can talk with Nick. Oftentimes he'll give screenshots of his editing timeline, or he'll give different little fun facts, and then also you got a show discussion as well where we can kind of chat about this show, either in real time or after the fact, and so there's some fun extra little chats. No, I don't think anything is NSFW per se.
I do
There's no
post really personal
NSFW
stuff in that chat, so I do send pictures of me as a kid in there quite a bit, or pictures of me and my friends. So if you guys want to get a little in my inner life, I usually post those there.
I post food in there sometimes. I post dinner. Dinner tonight is going to be I think a chicken tikka marsala or something like that.
Nice.
It's going to be good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Indian food, nice.
So, yes.
Are you making it, or is Bunny making it?
No, it's frozen. We got it at Target, so it's not
cool.
homemade. Yeah, no, we're not going fancy. We usually keep it simple on Fridays. So, but we have I think we've had it before from this particular company. I forget which one, and it was good. So yeah, it should be tasty.
I've been saving so much money making my own pizza, and it's actually been a lot better than just going out and buying pizza.
I kind of want to get back into it.
When we make the dough, we get all the toppings.
You make the dough.
So, Meg makes the dough. Meg makes the dough. I set it out and put flour on it before the SHIRO show and just let it sit for like an hour or whatever, hour and a half, and then it's like really ready to go. And then I make the pizzas. And when you make pizza like every week, you know, consistently, you get pretty good at it. So I would argue that like I'm not missing out anymore on like whatever local pizza joints.
Chucky said we should make a SHIRO cookbook. That's a great idea.
We should. I have some recipes that we can add on to that. I have.
Well, we need like Saturn themed recipes, though, right? We need to like, have like.
Yeah, what would that be?
And the shape of a controller.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, come up with something that has something to do with various Sega games. Like a Panzer Dragoon themed, you know, pasta or something. I don't know.
Do you have a dough docker for the
Panzer
bubbles?
Ragoon.
You know, I just for Moose Tracks who's asking, I usually just put some olive oil on the pan, right? Lay down the dough and it's spread out, and then I use a fork and I just kind of like put a bunch of holes in the dough, you know, with a fork, and that seems to do it. Like I do 6 minutes, turn it 6 minutes, and then I put it down to the lower rack for 6 minutes, and it never sticks, it never has bubbles. Like it's great, works for me. So
Pat, did you say Panzer Ragoon?
Yeah,
Panzer Ragoon.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Panzer
that's what we
Ragoon.
definitely need to do.
Oh my god,
like
now that's a homebrew game right there. Panzer Ragoon.
Panzer Ragoon.
Yeah, like just like like have those. I like these ones. Cage's Korma, allows lasagna.
Wow. Sega guys is still up right now. I know he's
Mr.
doing
T-Bones.
James is doing game capture, and he's still awake. And it's what? It's
James,
1:42.
Stop being British. Go to bed and stop being British, dude.
He needs to get some kip, as he would say.
Kip.
Hip and a stip.
Yeah, and I wonder
Yeah.
if it's snowing over there right now, or if it's still snowy over there.
It's probably at least raining. It's the UK, so
It is the UK. Yeah.
if it's not raining, it's snowing.
Well, anything else we want to shout before we head
of the
out?
bread.
Buy a
Yes,
t-shirt
indeed. Consume. Buy a
Yeah, buy a
t-shirt.
t-shirt.
Yep, you can do
Buy
that.
multiple
on
t-shirts.
Teespring
On
store.
our right now on the YouTube channel, you should be able to buy a shirt. I think if it shows up properly, I don't know. It does it? Does it? It's not showing up on my phone, but who knows? Maybe for folks on a browser, it might show up. Otherwise, you go to our website and you click on the menu here. You go to merch, and you've got options: Teespring or Threadless. Also, shouts to everybody in our community who are doing cool things like Saturn Memories, who does the archive or the Saturn Resource Directory. We've also got Private Eye doing managing our fan translations and hacks page, and then you've got
Thank you to them.
me still trying to do the homebrew game thing. Oh, and yeah, it's not live right now.
Okay.
I promise. You know what? I'm gonna put that on the very top.
creams.
I'm gonna put
That's
that
a
homebrew
Den
page
Rime.
at the very top of my to-do list, especially after all of the submissions from this year.
Yeah, I was gonna do stream after, but I think Shadow's doing a VHS thing, so I don't want to step on him. So I'll
And also,
see the.
Oh, is he? Okay, good.
I also want to say shouts to
Bring
up
Death
the
Scythe.
popcorn.
Shouts to Death Scythe for his Saturn in film and television. And I
Quite the list.
want him to know that I haven't forgotten that our site is kind of broken, and it's very difficult for him to add images on the side here, like reference images. And I'm starting to think that maybe a table is not the right format for this list. Maybe it just needs to be like a nice scrollable list of blocks, with like, bit of text, some image, like a GIF or a YouTube video or something like that, and just do that. Because right now we have it set up as like a data table, but for some reason our website doesn't like letting you put in images over here on the side. At least it doesn't let you do it easily. So I don't know. Anyway,
Dan doesn't like
WordPress
the
is
Sonic
a-
jam.
Yeah, not for no. Sonic Toe Jam? No, thank you.
like
Don't
I
like Sonic Toe Jam.
yeah, I agree. Like WordPress is kind of like
No feet.
it forces you
WordPress
to.
is a joy to work with.
It's a joy to work. Well, yeah, Saturn Memories is like I can't do. I've tried doing all sorts of HTML stuff, and your block editor just like kicks me out or just like overrides me. So he's like, I guess I'm just doing it the way that it wants me to do it, So yeah, but that's what we went with, I guess, at the very beginning. So.
So Pat, you're still going to play through the new Homebrew game, that Maria Renard game, but you're just gonna upload it to the site to YouTube later.
Because
Is that
I don't
it?
want to
Okay.
step on. Wait, it's not.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I don't want to step on shadows. Things in 15 minutes, so I don't want to step on that.
Well, whenever you do that, I guess you could edit Dave's story to put, to embed your video in there. That would be cool.
I'll do one up. I'm gonna edit his article, but I'm gonna change the Arthur to me. And
Yeah.
Dave,
Okay. Do that. Then do that. But what is Shadow doing? Can we
He's doing
shout it?
A VHS stream.
He is doing his VHS stream. Okay. What is he streaming?
9
do we
p.m.
know? 9 p.m.
I don't think he said. But it's gonna be
doing toys?
streaming.
Oh, it's not till 9 p.m. Okay, I forgot. It's not until
9 p.m. East. Yeah, it's an hour and 15 minutes from now.
Okay, I'll do stream then.
It'll be in the SHIRO.
It'll be in the SHIRO.
channel.
Okay, great. So you guys are in our Discord. You guys can come have a movie night with Shadow Mask. And
he said, "My favorite movie ever, Robot Jocks." I was just testing stream. I'm not familiar with that.
I'm
movie.
not familiar with that one either. Yeah, that's interesting.
Good.
Okay.
Hop in the stream, whip off your pants, and enjoy a nice stream.
Or one of those things. Maybe not all of them.
You keep
Okay.
your pants on if you want. I mean, that's what I do.
All right. Okay.
Nothing wrong.
Wow.
It's just really warm in here. It's Arizona. It's hot.
Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for watching. Until next time, SaturnDave, Danthrax, TraynoCo, reminding you.
And stick for the game stream. We're gonna do a game stream after this. So.
Okay, so stick around. Don't go
You are
anywhere.
doing the game stream. Cool.
Don't go anywhere.
Give me a time.
Pat's gonna grab the stream right after me. Okay, so until next time, reminding you that you must play Sega Saturn, and we'll see you in the next hour on the game stream.
Bye.
Bye bye.
SHIRO ショットダウンしろ